So today I'm talking to the Thieves, a rock trio from County Durham. We have Frankie, who sings and plays guitar, Liam, who plays bass, and Leon on drums. So I read on your Spotify that Leon advertised himself as a drummer looking for a band. So is this how the Thieves started?
Yeah, sort of. I sort of started what was the first version of the Thieves
Oh,
when
it's froze.
I was Leon. Leon's frozen. He's frozen at quite a flattering angle, hasn't he?
Within the first minute.
Oh God, just don't on it, man. Are
I
you
can't
right?
even
Oh,
Yeah, there he is.
back
Yeah.
now.
And back to I started sort of the first version of what the Thieves was at school. It was just like being a couple of mates in like a covers band, sort of doing like gigs and stuff. And then like as time sort of got on, you know, people's interests changed and whatnot. So it sort of wasn't sort of the best place to start doing original music. And then Leon had pretty put an ad out on Facebook saying like, you know, drummer looking for band, you know, will play anything. Listed every single genre of music ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, you put like death metal, rock, jazz, samba, Caribbean, you know, plays the
yeah, and all that sort of stuff. Aye.
Yeah, you put all that in, and then I already knew who he was because I'd seen him at the version of the Thieves that I was in where we sort of did covers all the time. We'd done this festival, and Leon was playing the festival with two different bands on two different days. So he was on the Friday night with one band, and then the Saturday night with another band. So I'd sort of seen him there, and obviously because we all live sort of locally, I'd heard about him from like around the town, and yeah, that was sort of that. I just messaged him and said like, look, and I sort of need a drummer. We've got these sort of gigs lined up. Do you want to go for it? And he was like, but he basically just went, oh, when's practice? And I knew Liam because our dads used to knock about with each other when they were kids. So like they went to school together, and like his parents were like his dad and his uncle were at like my parents' wedding and stuff like that. So we then like we got introduced to each other about 5 years ago at a gig. Again, I was playing, he was playing. It was sort of like, oh, that's so and so's son. Then you were like, all right, and then we just sort of bumped into each other really like impromptu, didn't we? At like gigs of like same interest, both like absolutely wellied.
So how did you come up with the name The Thieves?
So I know it's quite like a generic name, and obviously everyone's got their reasons for it, but it's from the song "Thick as Thieves" by the Jam, and obviously that the like when I was growing up, I was listening to sort of like what my dad was into, and like I got introduced to sort of his side of music. So it was like the Jam and like Paul Weller especially, and like then like Oasis and like Stone Roses, and that sort of like the Britpop thing, but also very much like the mod thing. So like the mod revivalist thing with Paul Weller, and then like the Small Faces and like Motown stuff like that. So the name, it was one of them things where I wrote it in like my planner at school, like in the back. You're supposed to put all like your important emails and stuff. There's like a big list of band names, and like the thing sort of stuck out, and it sort of, I don't know, it's like the short answer is it just sounded coolest, like out of all of them, to be honest. Like it just thought like, yeah, the Thieves, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bit like, it was a little bit more like sort of rough and ready. So I thought
punchy.
Yeah, exactly. It was a little bit more punchy. We were like, wait, don't exactly be like a pitch perfect band. So yeah.
So are you all quite influenced by music from the 70s and 80s then?
Just everything.
That's where my roots sort of lie, sort of thing. I mean, the Who, I listened to them growing up. I listened to the Jam growing up with a couple of older brothers and all that sort of stuff, you know. So I'd say my biggest influences does date back to that sort of era, 60s, 70s. I mean, I was born in the 1930s anyway, you know what I mean? So
Leon's uncle's F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Yeah, that's where mine go back to. But
yeah, I think I'm the same, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think mine's more for like from a guitar player's point of view. A really big person for me was like Chuck Berry. So, and I got that from watching Back to the Future as a child, and obviously Marty McFly plays Johnny B. Good on the stage, and after that you go and listen to Johnny B. Good and stuff. So I sort of was into it from like that sort of side of things, and like my grandparents as well, they were like really big Beatles fans, so the Beatles was always on the house. Like I pretty much grew up knowing the words to most Beatles songs, and then like the Rolling Stones as well. My granddad's like a really big Rolling Stones fan, so I got introduced to sort of stuff like that. So mine's more like in terms of influences, I'm sort of influenced by like whatever I'm listening to at like the time. Really, I kind of go through these phases of thing, but I think really it's sort of that sort of 60s to like 90s sort of bracket where everything like is mainly, yeah, at the moment it's sort of like it's a select stuff of like the Stones and like T-Rex, and that's, yeah, it's just stuff like that, and then everything else sort of it'll be on in the background and I'll just know the words to it, so probably about that as well.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Liam? Who are your biggest influences?
I've always liked like my punk, like the Clash, bit of two-tone, ska, reggae. Obviously, I like me like Oasis and things like that, but it's the Clash, the Jam, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
They were big influences for me. Mainly the Clash. Like, I love the Clash.
So tell me about MTV. You first released it last year and you re-released it in March as a radio edit. So what's the song about?
So the song's about I have like I say I have like a short answer and a long answer for it, and the short answer is that I just don't like reality telly at all. I really don't. Like, I just, oh god, like Love Island, it's disgusting. Keeping Up with the Kardashians, who cares? You know, it's a bit boring. You know, it's not even boring. It's just sort of like it's a bit vapid and soulless, really. And somehow people look up to it, and it's just a bit like when I wrote MTV, it was sort of at the same time that a lot of the people from Love Island was sort of, they were like committing suicide and stuff like that, and the reason was because they weren't on the telly anymore. They'd sort of lost some form of validation that they got from being on the telly.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also about like I see a lot of people my age and a lot of people around where we live are still trying to, they sort of have that mentality that they are like them people off Love Island, but then when they realize that they're not that person, it's very soul destroying.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like, so they still act like that even though it's like basically killing them.
Yeah, and it's like a lot of people feel like the stereotype of what's on TV is like perfect and what they should be like.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit dull, isn't it, really? Like just to sort of be blunt about it, it's pretty like, you know, like even when you look at it, it's a bit like you don't look at it going, oh my god, that's whoa, that's really cool. You look at it and go, ooh, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they, like I say, they're famous because they're on the telly. They're not on the telly anymore, and they don't, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people now like people who are on the telly who are like actors and actresses. They've had some background beforehand, like, or they've been on something else. They go, oh, I know so and so from this. I know so and so for that. Do you remember that guy off Love Island? No, not really. What's he doing these days? Nobody really knows. You know what I mean? So it's just like you say, it's just that sort of fall from grace from not being what they were, and people around us trying to be like what they were, and like, so it's sort of how like television sets a very unrealistic and very toxic example for people who don't really have, you know, the sort of the money and the fame and the lights and the cameras to achieve it.
So we've worked out what you don't want to see on TV, but what do you like to watch on TV? Do you have a favourite movie? Is there a movie that you'd like to have a song on the soundtrack to? A lot of questions.
My film taste is a bit like, I don't know, like it's very like like it's sort of your classic like, yeah, he's a lad, he watches these films type stuff, but there's also like other films that I'd watch where I'm a bit like, it's sort of like a guilty pleasure. But in terms of television, I'm very simple. I watch Corrie. I like Corrie. You know, don't let Emmerdale. Don't let Emmerdale. Me and Liam are banging to Trailer Park Boys because it's great. Trailer Park Boys is intensely good. So you got me into that over lockdown. I'd been binging all 12 seasons of that. I just go on Netflix and sort of watch, like, if I want to watch a series, I'll watch something like that, or I'm quite happy to sit down and watch a film. Like, I don't know, my film taste is too thing. If I could sort of broaden it down, it'd be. I like Enter the Dragon.
Hmm.
Bruce Lee. I love them sort of films. That Rocky 4 and oh Christ! I'll look on me. I've got a couple of DVDs. But I don't know. I do. I've got like 3 DVDs. I've got 2 Back to the Future box sets and a Matrix trilogy. I don't know. I think I'll have to stick with them because I'll go on for ages. School of Rock. I know every single line of that film, like verbatim from the script.
That's a good film. Hmm. What about you two?
I think my favourite film could be RoboCop, along with the Terminator 1, Terminator 2, Predator. Anything like that, to be honest with you.
Is it the classic RoboCop?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Like
Not this
one.
not in this remake shite. Yeah, stuff like that. If I was, anything like that, action films, and I like comedy and all that sort of stuff, you know. And I'll watch out, you know, but I wouldn't waste your time watching The Village, because that could be the biggest waste of your life for an hour and a half that you've ever going to watch. Don't watch it.
At the start of the episode, do not watch.
Yeah, just don't watch it.
I like Jackass films as well. Jackass is great.
I don't really get away with horror films because I have night terrors.
Oh, bless you.
I do, to be fair. So.
Oh yeah, doing all sleepwalk and everything. So
how'd you get that from watching a horror film?
Good life.
Do you wake up in the middle of the night and just leg it?
I've done that before. I woke up before trying to jump out the window. Woke up the front door and everything, man. No, just out like that, a bit big scope, but I'm into my dad's watching my Breaking Bad at the minute, so I'm just sort of getting into that, and that's kind of good. But I've only just rediscovered Netflix. I've just gotten down in the present climate with that sort of stuff. Like, I still like my VHS as well, you say. So, what do you like, Liam?
I like binging a series like Game of Thrones. Just watched Line of Duty final episode. What a letdown! Won't go any further if no one's
What was your thoughts on how it ended?
Terrible.
I'm not into it at all, but I am intrigued to how it ended. And like I told my mom, I was like, Mom, how did it end? And she's like, I don't really want to tell you, Frankie, because it's a bit crap.
Watch it. It is crap. Like Game of Thrones is like that in the last series. Let down. I like Lord of the Rings, mate. I'm a little nerd.
Yeah, he's one of them weird ones who like elves and big feet and pointy ears and stuff. Star Wars.
Something with like swords and like bow and arrows and that. It's cool, mate. It's cool.
So now
I like Willow.
So now I've made you choose your favourite film. What's your favourite album?
The Who Live at Leeds 1970.
Frankie's going to list about 20.
Yeah.
I listened to that new album that Leon, because when we've done these interviews and people have sort of asked about them, and Leon's always said this album, I've never ever listened to it. So I thought,
brilliant.
You know what, I might actually listen to it, and it's quite good. Don't they do My Generation for about 20 minutes?
15 minutes.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
I would say one album. I'm a really big Duran Duran fan. So Duran Duran's first album, it's fantastic. It comes with like 2 discs, and the second half is full of night mixes that they made for the clubs. And they did all the things in one take, so they're all like rearranged, and they have like all these different instruments on it, but it's all the same songs.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great musically diverse band that get overlooked.
Nah, London Calling for me, like, gotta be the Clash. London Calling. I do like The View though. The View is one of my favourite bands. Bread and Searches by The View, that's up there. I'd go London Calling by the Clash though, definitely.
Do you have anything on your playlist that you're embarrassed to admit to? Guilty pleasure songs?
Nah. No such thing. Love what you like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna have a quick look actually and see if there's anything that jumps out at me. That's a bit strange.
I like a bit of Madonna.
Oh, yeah. So when
Kylie.
we're on the way to gigs, right, we'll have like the speaker in the van, and it's just Madonna. As much as like all the other bands that we've sort of just listed that we like, it's Madonna, ABBA. We have a Spotify playlist called the Thieves Big
Feel
Bad.
good, innit?
See, nothing particularly jumps out as strange to me on my playlist because it's just, yeah, it's a strange playlist. Like, not really that.
I like the Moana soundtrack. Love the Moana soundtrack. Like. I'm not even embarrassed by it. Moana is a fantastic film, right? It's up there.
God, next you'll be saying The Greatest Showman.
I've never seen that, right?
It's
no,
awful.
Moana. Don't knock it. If you haven't seen Moana, don't knock it.
I have seen Moana. It's really good.
Isn't it? What a soundtrack.
Yeah, there's nothing really on my. I don't know. I go through embarrassing musical phases, not embarrassing music one song.
Yeah.
So these two tell you I've had some strange phases of music, like when it comes to going to band practice and just blaring it out the PA at the end of practice when we're clearing out. Like I had a Def Leppard phase that was pretty intense, where I thought that Hysteria by Def Leppard was the best album of all time.
Go to 5 as well, didn't you? I remember that as well.
Which one?
5, the band 5. It went through that phase, and then there was Steps as well that was getting knocked out.
Hey, Sound of the Underground by Girls Aloud, and
that is a tune. I'll
tell you who I listen to, who I quite like, but I don't listen to it often. But when you do, it just like the proper hits. I quite like Nelly Furtado. Did like Promiscuous and Manita and Say It Right. They're all tunes, and nobody is man enough to admit it. But to be honest, like when you're in a band like ours, and you say, "Oh, one of my favorite bands are Duran Duran," people are a bit like, "No, you're in a guitar band. That means you must like Oasis." It's a bit like that, so yeah.
You wouldn't expect it like Duran Duran, like.
They're great. Like
that's your top album choice, isn't it? I wouldn't expect that from you. Like if you haven't said it before, I wouldn't expect that from you.
Wait, I've liked loads of albums, and sort of there are some that like sit like that will always sit on that sort of pedestal, like Aftermath by the Stones and stuff like that. But like if I had to go for like one album which is just great through and through, and there's no fault with it, it's the first album. It's great, like first Duran Duran album, it's class. Yeah. I had an embarrassing Bon Jovi phase as well, but we don't talk about that.
Embarrassing phases.
Yeah, we got an inside joke about the whole American rock, the way they sing. If we have a song that sounds a little bit cringy, he'll start wailing from behind the drum kit. He don't have a microphone, so he just starts screaming at the top of his lungs during the song. Yeah, that's sort of it, really. Like, embarrassing music phase is not embarrassing songs, but we sort of listen to enough questionable stuff as it is. So to say for us to deem anything questionable is a little bit rich, really.
So, as thieves, who is most likely to rob a bank?
I don't think any of us are smart enough to rob a bank. I really don't.
Leon from Shielding.
I was going to say maybe Leon.
See, I feel like
I can imagine him doing a bank over, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, I can.
It's on my bucket list. Like definitely on my bucket list.
Yeah, I feel like you'd run in with a pair of tights on your head and run into the door because you forget it's there, like because you can't see through the tights.
Wouldn't put it past us.
If I did it, I'd run in with like a water pistol, and it'd be like bright green or something like that, and be like.
Well, you set yourself up early there, aren't you, mate?
Yeah, I'd leave fingerprints everyone, but I feel like Leon would be like. I feel like he'd actually carry it out with some sort of meticulous. So you wouldn't even know he was there. It'd be like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible or something.
I bet you know some boys there. You know some boys. You've got a guy.
Yeah. Liam's too much to be robbing banks. I mean, you live next to a prison, so at least you know like what not to do from the people who are there.
Fair.
Who is most likely to secretly work for the FBI?
I'll tell him. Just, because I boast about it so much.
Yeah, I was going to say, it definitely couldn't be Frankie because he'd be telling everyone
Yeah, but I
You
tell
can't screw up,
something.
man.
Didn't say no, but I'm working for the FBI on the side, you know. But hey, you there? Yeah. Oh,
All of my day, 007 by night. No, I think that.
Maybe it's just an act, and maybe he's like that, so you think that.
Yeah, exactly. Reverse psychology, Liam.
Throwing us off the scent.
no.
Exactly. I'd be like, yeah, I'm in the FBI, and then be like, course he's in the FBI. You know. And then they wouldn't believe you, and the next thing you know, you're on your way to Guatemala with Tom Cruise to go carry out some job.
Mhm.
Fair.
Who's most likely to skydive?
Skydive,
Mhm.
not me.
I think Liam's would skydive.
I feel like I'd just wouldn't have the bottle to jump out the plane. Leon would do it, but he'd forget his parachute.
I think so.
I'd have to have a few nervous poos before, like, but maybe I can never do it. Like.
Can't go wrong with I feel like depends how many nervous poos you have beforehand, really.
Yeah.
Sort out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Who's most likely to eat something off the floor?
I'd do
Leon.
Yeah, we're
Definitely, all
we're
day
all
long, like.
to be fair.
I'd say Leon, like, 100%.
Definitely.
I bet he eats off floors anyway.
Yeah, you definitely are, yeah.
Yeah, Leon's getting work done on his house at the moment, so he has a bit of asbestos with his cornflake every morning.
Didn't I? Yeah, dust and vinegar. You've got everyone's eating off the floor at some point, haven't they?
Yeah,
Right.
Immune system.
5 second
Drops
rule.
right
You
on the
know.
floor. Yeah, it's a 15-minute rule, isn't it?
By being Sheldon, like.
That's what you do, don't you? Drop someone on the floor, you pick it up, and you're like, it's grand, that eye. Yeah. Why not?
I think all of us, to be fair, you know, yeah.
Lovely. Who is most likely to embarrass the rest of you on a night out?
Me. No, Liam would. Liam would turn into an absolute like just uncontrollable.
Yeah.
It's that rum and coke, man. That rum and coke.
I think Liam, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I won't even argue with that, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just sort of turns into this other being when he's drunk. You don't really recognise him. He doesn't really recognise him. It's just like comes out. It's a bit like a werewolf. So when you know how you're not supposed to feed a gremlin after midnight.
Mm-hmm.
You're not supposed to give Liam like a rum and coke after a certain amount of them, or we just got this flailing, lanky ginger destruction machine. So yeah, probably either that or maybe me. I'm gonna hold my hands up and say, without shame, I'm the first to chuck a whitey on a night out.
Yeah, it's after that first bottle, in it, I.
Not
Tough,
yeah.
After he's been shivering with a bottle for 3.5 hours.
I don't like. I'm not like a big beer drinker. Like I like having it sometimes, but I'm just not like a big. I'll have it if it's there. If it's not, I don't really.
More of a warm milk and cookies kind of lad, aren't you, Frankie?
Can't go wrong with it.
Can't go wrong with milk and cookies. So you've had lots of radio plays on BBC Introducing Radio Tees, Islington Radio, amongst others, and you've been added to This Feeling playlists, and you have a headline gig coming up in June. So things are looking good. Everything's very positive. So what else are you hoping to do for the rest of 2021?
Just gig harshly until our arms and legs fall off. I think we've got quite a few gigs planned, obviously because they're towards the back end of the year, obviously because we're sort of coming out of lockdown now, so we can't really announce too much. You can't announce a gig that's in September now because Ticket Link isn't there, posters in there. The other band who you might be supporting or something like that are doing other gigs before that, so you can't really promote it. But we've got a lot of gigs. And just studio time as well. We've got some potentially
got some belters.
Yeah, we've got some good songs. to go and record. Like that's what we've been sort of doing now. We've been able to get back to practice. It's just like I've been writing a lot. I've been sending it to the lads. Liam knows the chords. Leon doesn't listen to the song. We'll go into the practice room. Oh, we've got a song.
Have you listened to
Typical
that?
drummer, basically.
No.
Like, so yeah, like, and I think like as well as the studio, we've got some quite exciting plans. Hopefully, the studio that when they like sort of materialize and they have like a set date, they'll be, you know, very cool. And we've got a lot of like people coming on board as well that are sort of taking the band in like different directions as well, because we were all quite, what's the word I'm looking for, like I'd say self-managed. My mum and dad do a lot of it, which is great. You know, my mum handles all the business side of stuff because I can't really compose an email. And
Powerhouse.
Yeah,
Absolute powerhouse.
Mum's an absolute powerhouse. She's the
Good
boss.
job, mate.
Cracking.
She's got us this, you know, she's got us this far, you know, and it's great to say like my mum's had like not a lot. By a lot I mean no experience like managing a band or booking a gig or something like that. So to say that we've got this far on our own, it's quite like it's impressive, and it's like especially for where we come from as well. It's like pretty unheard of. Usually bands get to this far, give up, and then become a covers band and start playing weddings. So yeah,
Still time yet, Frankie.
Yeah, I know. I already know the chords to Sweet Caroline, so it's all right. But like I said, just we've got lots of gigs coming, especially this one here, which I conveniently have a poster for, if everyone can see that. The 24th of June at the Any Volume Bar in Stockton.
Get your ticket.
Get your tickets, please. It's on a Thursday night, but the weekend starts then. Sorry, what? I was just.
Where can people get tickets?
You can get them through, if you follow us on Instagram, you can get them through the link in our bio. You can get them on C-Tickets as well. So
Or just message us, we'll point in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't hesitate to ask.
You know, DM for inquiries and collabs. But
just slide in.
Yeah, that's really, you know, you can find them on C-Tickets. You can find them on in our Instagram bios, and like you've got the band's bios and stuff like that. You can get them everywhere, so there's no excuse.
No excuse. Yep, everyone watching, there's no excuse for you to not be there. Well, I think that's a lovely, positive place to end it, with lots of gigs and stuff to look forward to. And I look forward to seeing what you do the rest of the year. And thank you very much for talking to me today.
Yo.
The rest of your evening.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us on. Yeah.
Cheers. See ya.